just like they stole the FEMA money, just like they stole it from a bank, so they could give it to their illegal immigrants.
Well, 10 TV political reporter Doug Petcash looked into this for us tonight. And the question being, is FEMA running out of disaster relief funding because it's being spent on undocumented migrants? Doug, what's the answer?
Well, the answer is no, Angela. The administration did not divert money from FEMA's disaster relief fund, but there is a separate fund administered by FEMA that does give hundreds of millions of dollars to help undocumented migrants. The White House pushed back on Trump's claims in a statement saying this is false. The disaster relief fund is specifically appropriated by Congress to prepare for, respond to, recover from, and mitigate impacts of natural disasters. It is completely separate from other grant programs administered by FEMA for DHS, the Department of Homeland Security, that is. And on its website, FEMA said basically the same thing, that no money is being diverted from disaster response needs. That being said, FEMA does administer the separate Shelter and Services Program in partnership with U.S. Customs and Border Protection. That program provides financial support to non-federal entities to help non-citizen migrants. Its budget this year, $640 million. And just last month, 10 TV reported the city of Columbus received a $6.6 million grant through the program to provide shelter for immigrants, refugees, and asylum seekers. City officials say the grant will build upon partnerships and expand the capacity to provide shelter and material assistance for migrants and displaced residents. The city will get the money over 3 years. Now, Springfield, the Ohio city at the center of false claims about immigrants amplified by Trump, did not receive any grant funding through the Shelter and Services Program. In the studio, Doug Petcash, 10 TV News.
Thousands of FEMA workers are fanning out down south to help people desperate for aid suffering from Hurricane Helene's catastrophic punch. Look at all the damage. Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas says there is enough aid for them, but an agreement must be reached in Congress to ensure aid to people impacted by storms in the future. President Biden flew over the ruins in hard-hit Asheville, North Carolina. Governor Roy Cooper was by his side.
I approve the request of Governor Cooper for the federal government to cover 100% of all the costs for debris removal with the storm.
Biden directed the Defense Department to deploy 1,000 active duty soldiers to bolster the delivery of aid to communities hit by Helene. More than 6,000 National Guard personnel from Pennsylvania, New Jersey, and 10 other states have also deployed to the region. Helene's death toll is beyond 200 people, making it the deadliest hurricane to make landfall in the United States since Katrina in 2005. And so much different this one was, Karen, because it hurt so many communities so far inland.
That was such a big problem, Matt, that they had such serious flooding all through the Carolinas. That was forecasted. And so I think a big problem is trying to find ways to reach people, to get them to be in a position to be able to take that seriously and perhaps evacuate. But horrible news coming out with that.
Whoever you are, wherever you are, hope you are blessed and doing safe. Ladies and gentlemen, greetings, family. Of course, I'm tuning in. You see me without the glasses off today. But if you're looking for some opportunities, particular advertisement opportunities, then look no further at the link at the bottom to my email address. You can hit me up for advertisement opportunities. We are supporting and promoting your businesses here on this channel. You can also, if you would like to donate and subscribe to our Patreon, a link is at the bottom as well. So you have multiple ways in which you can advertise with the platform by emailing me when we go on through our live stream. You also have access to premium content, those that want to see premium content that you will not find here on YouTube or Facebook or Twitter, as I am suspended probably by now. You guys can check out the Patreon at link at the bottom. But advertisement opportunities, definitely email me, gavin.grich1@gmail.com for rates. And for the Patreon, it is the same as the YouTube channel. It is channel gboot2786. All right, I'll holla. Peace.
Let's get into it today, fam. What's going on? Welcome to another edition of Random Topic Sundays, the hottest live stream in the cosmos of social media, whether watching via Rumble, X, or Facebook. come on. We're getting started in here. Also, be sure, since you know this channel is not monetized, if you'd like to support, try and drop something in the Cash App, Zelle, or PayPal. Ladies and gentlemen, Cash App, PayPal, or Zelle. There we go. We're talking about this tonight, the tragedy of the Federal Emergency Management Agency, FEMA, broke as a joke. That's right. FEMA is broke as a joke, ladies and gentlemen, according to a press conference that was held by Alejandro Mayorkas just a few days ago. They stated that, I'm sorry, I'm getting these notifications. Something, I got something being delivered. Come on, y'all. Mayorkas announced that they can't meet immediate need. FEMA can meet immediate needs, but does not have enough funding to make it through the hurricane season. As many people may know already, there are people who are getting monies, but only at $750. And I don't think that's per individual. I believe, I want to be sure about the $750. Someone can correct me if I'm wrong. From my research, I think it is $750. And I kind of remember when Hurricane Katrina, they gave even less than that per person. Now, FEMA announced, and because they got the news media all out, they're trying to dispel all these falsehoods and rumors. It's interesting when the people on the ground are saying they're getting this, but then the government responds and say, no, it's not true. They're not just giving this. But I actually lived through a hurricane. I actually had my family and I, we relocated. And it's fair. I like to be fair. I'll put it up. They're saying it's false. They're saying it's an upfront flexible payment to help cover essential items like food, water, baby supply, breastfeeding, supplies, medication, and other emergencies. There's other forms of assistance. Yes, I remember with Hurricane Katrina, I also remember evacuating for Hurricane Ida. And FEMA was, and it was very difficult because when my folks, my mom, my aunt, my dad, and I can remember them being gone for hours, they went up to FEMA, the Federal Emergency Management, to try and get, and I'd say going up to FEMA, they didn't go up to Washington, D.C. FEMA had these campsites set up across the Gulf South where people were trying to apply for aid they could, and what they needed to do. And I remember with FEMA, they only came back with so much money. It wasn't like it was a $15,000 per person or nothing like that. No. Now, what they're stating here is false, that you're only getting $750 an hour, because what they're stating is there are other forms of assistance they can use. And no, that's not the only, it's not $750 and $750 alone. However, what most survivors of Hurricane Helene are stating is that their sources and monies that they're supposed to have gotten has been limited and not enough. And yet we have the head of Homeland Security, Alejandro Mayorkas, who is stating that FEMA does not have any money to last itself through the rest of hurricane season. And so controversy has erupted, my friends, because you have the Republicans, in particular Donald Trump, who is blaming the Biden-Harris administration, stating that they are diverting funds to help with the migrant crisis. And the Democrats are responding because when President Trump, and this is true, was president in 2019, they're saying it really started with him because they didn't divert any money from Homeland Security to give migrants. Trump, they're saying, manipulated and maneuvered the funding for the Federal Emergency Management Agency to help set up and provide money for these migrant shelters. Now, That is true to a certain extent. But you look here, I want to show y'all, just look on Google, just a clear Google search. Once we type in 2019 Trump FEMA, look at all the news articles that are saying that are against Trump. Now they say Trump lies about the hurricane response are getting more outrageous. You have up at the top here analysis, no, Biden didn't take FEMA relief money to use on migrants, but Trump did. Biden didn't take FEMA relief to use on Democrats, but Trump did. This is from the Democrats' website. Washington Post said he makes false claims about hurricane relief. White House calls it poison. Local officials and relief agencies, you see CNN says the same thing. So question is, who's telling who what is truthful and what's not? And so what they're talking about when you read the Washington Post website, or you could go to Democrats.com, of course, is going to be geared to that. What they're talking about is that in 2019, the Trump administration, in the middle of hurricane season, told Congress it was taking $271 million from DHS programs, including $155 million from the disaster fund to pay for immigrant detention space and temporary hearing locations from asylum seekers who have been forced to wait in Mexico. Good evening, Cheryl. Now, the monthly reports issued by the FEMA disaster show $38 million was plucked and given to the Immigration and Customs Enforcement in August that year, just before the prime storm period of September and October. And they say that Trump falsely claims FEMA has run out of disaster money. Well, if it's false, why is the Department of Homeland Security, the head of FEMA, Alejandro Mayorkas, saying otherwise? Where is the money? So even if you have the money and said the money was being diverted, wasn't being diverted, but we have separate, we use separate, we out of the same branch, we have two different branches, and one deals with funding for the migrants and the other. Well, if you have two pockets and you put money for one thing in one pocket and money in the other, and let's say you're missing some money for your right pocket, but your left you have money for, something still is wrong with that. Where did that come from? How did that happen? You look, and shout out to Brother Phil Scott, but even if you look on the FEMA's website, the fiscal year 2023 award for fiscal year of 2023, the U.S. Department of Homeland Security, DHS, provided $363.8 million of available funds to enable non-federal entities to offset allowable costs incurred for services associated with non-citizen migrant arrivals in their communities. In 2024, the fiscal year, the U.S. Department of Homeland Security will provide $640.9 million of available funds to enable non-federal entities to offset allowable costs incurred for services associated with non-citizen migrant arrivals in their communities. The point I'm making, ladies and gentlemen, whether it's the right hand or the left hand, is still coming from the same body. So the question we have to ask ourselves, and the question that I'm wondering, oh, I love that music when it's playing, is why, I guess, why is FEMA claiming they're broke when all these millions of dollars are coming in for one side of the department? And you say, well, it's one side of the department. Well, the money is still coming from one bank, one spending, from one source. And the federal government, if they wanted to, especially in a time of emergency, the president can, because he is the chief executive officer of the United States, and FEMA is also an executive, is part of the executive branch he can sign an executive order to allocate funding if he wanted to. Now, how FEMA was created, guys, this is all giving me, especially when I see these stories about the Hurricane Helene, it is reminding me of almost 20 years ago where I was when Hurricane Katrina happened, and we were dealing with FEMA, we were dealing with Red Cross. Don't donate your money to Red Cross. If that's another thing too. When it comes to hurricane relief, let me mute the music for a second. Try and donate your money if you can to some local charities. But Red Cross had hundreds of millions of dollars that was supposed to be allocated to hard-hit areas. There was money that was made out of wazoo. And if you read my book, go to Amazon right now, Katrina, Eyes Have Not Seen, Ears Have Not Heard, you will see how bad and how much money was raised, not documented. We're talking about billions of dollars that was raised for disaster relief from Hurricane Katrina. And a lot of that money was not used properly. A lot of that did not go to every individual. You're talking about $500 million being raised by Red Cross. And we still have people. Now, of course, I know everybody's not going to get $1 million check. I'm not talking about that. But where does that money go? Who allocates that? What happens to it? Nobody knows. Nobody asks questions. That happened recently. I remember when the NFL and United Way, they had a fundraiser for Katrina victims. I document all of this in my book. Hold on one second, y'all. I got to run. We'll be right back. Hold on one second. All right, I'm back. Oh, I'm sorry about that. Yeah, I had to step out for a second. Well, that is what is being alleged, Cheryl, is that migrants have gotten this money, and it's been this finger pointing back and forth between the Republicans and the Democrats, because the Republicans on one end are blaming the Biden-Harris administration, while the Democrats are blaming Trump for his past policy, especially in 2019 when he was president. Now, let's look at that. That is the key, is that in 2019, Donald Trump was the president. And yes, he did divert money to go to these migrants, to asylum seekers, shelters, and so forth. But when we look at this is in 2023 and 2024. And they're saying, well, it doesn't have any control over the spending because it's separate. The problem, though, still is that while it may be different subjects that they separate in, all of it is still coming from the government. All of it is still coming from the executive branch of the United States government, the federal branch, which is the presidency. Now, everybody's talking about the celebrating of Jimmy Carter's birthday. What most people don't know, it was Jimmy Carter in 1978 who created FEMA. And I document this in my book on Hurricane Katrina, which you can read on Amazon right now. It was, ladies and gentlemen, one of his biggest mistakes because it militarized the Federal Emergency Management Agency. Now, you all can go right here and just check out where I wrote the book, when I wrote the book in 2019. If you want to look at it, that's me. That's the book right here. You can get on Kindle and paperback. It was actually made mandatory reading. Yeah, y'all go ahead and check it out. Go buy it. Support FAM. But I get emotional. I've seen a lot of stuff, and it reminds me of what happened. If you can donate to people, I would probably give it to them personally. I wouldn't go through or trust, honestly, the Red Cross. That's one thing. Certainly, I don't trust FEMA at this juncture. I think that it is a disgrace that the richest country in the world, we always use that term, the richest country in the world, can send money, allocate monies to go to the moon, to go to Mars, have rovers, do any type of thing, start wars and stuff, but we have no money to give the less fortunate, especially the homeless population here in the country is one thing, but also to victims of a hurricane, which is something I'm all too familiar with. The people of the United States responded better than the United States government when Hurricane Katrina happened. And I'm starting to see, even some 20 years later, deja vu, because it sounds like the neighbors and so forth, the people are doing a much better job. Now, I want to play a couple of things. Here's a video from, so I showed you that. I showed you what people were claiming is not true, that it wasn't Trump doing, it wasn't Biden doing this and so forth. I showed one video. So they got this one. Now, this is what I'm talking about with donations. This is a cop, it appears, who allegedly is talking about not donating to FEMA, but I don't know if you can donate to FEMA, but listen to what he has to say.
Profit to donate to. By now, everyone's heard about what's going on in the western part of Carolina, eastern Tennessee, Florida, Georgia. Donate. Please donate what you can. Try to find a nonprofit to donate to, a church, local PD. A lot of those are taking donations, sheriff's departments. I know my department is running a bunch of stuff to the western part of the state to help. Donate. But please do not donate to FEMA. They are hindering a lot of what people are trying to accomplish out in the western part of the state. FEMA doesn't understand that these Appalachian people are built differently. I am very familiar with them. They are not going to stand by idly and have government officials tell them what to do. FEMA's playing a game of FAFO because free men don't ask for permission. Again, please donate and help these people out. They need us now more than ever. By now, everyone's heard about what's going on in the western part of Carolina, eastern Tennessee, Florida.
They got video of Kamala helping out some residents in North Carolina. She's actually supposed to be going to speak somewhere. So what they're stating and trying to say is, yeah, he was stating, don't do that. But when you look, don't donate to FEMA. But even with that, there are a lot of people who've been complaining, others about the government's handling of it. This all still falls on our government's shoulders. Now, the most important thing we got to pay attention to too is that this is we're in 2024. Donald Trump,
Georgia,
has not been president since 2020, January 6, 2021. You can't trust this. Now, I talked about the media and how bad it's been, what they're doing, especially why nobody really trusts MSNBC, CNN, and so forth. Although CNN, I must admit, they've actually changed their programming, their formatting that is not too liberal, but anymore, because they try to be moderate, but it still is bad. Crying Negro Network, as Judge Joe Brown would call it. I want to show everybody this video. This is coming from, it looks like the name of the place. I gotta say, this is called American Swiper. I don't know this guy, but courtesy of X, I saw this video. It's about an MSNBC producer. Someone sits down and is obviously secretly recording him, but I want to show y'all, if I can. Fair use, by the way. Fair use. I got to show y'all. Let me turn the music off. What he says happens there with regards to MSNBC and their job. Now, I showed you all of those on Google, that search engine, all those results regarding Trump and the 2019, what happened in 2019 with regards to FEMA and how they're fact checking. I want y'all to understand, and this is not just limited to NBC. This is practically every news media you can think of. They're all biased and one-sided. But this man from MSNBC, he's a producer. He's going to spell out for you what they like to do to get the American people they want the American people brainwashed. Now, fair use. I'm going to actually increase the speed a little bit. I don't want any copyright issues, but y'all got to listen carefully. You know what? I'm going to play it regularly. If I get copyright, I'll just I want y'all to listen carefully to what he said. So he's talking about Basil Hamdan. He's a producer of Eamon on MSNBC. Just listen.
MSNBC's weekend show, Eamon. Basil also reveals that, quote, what her message of the day is their MSNBC's message of the day.
What have they done to help the Harris campaign?
Amplify her message. What her message of the day is their message of the day.
Hamdan revealed that MSNBC is the Democratic Party's mouthpiece and is doing anything to get Kamala elected. Hamdan says this news network is indistinguishable from the Democratic Party.
So is MSNBC just like doing whatever it takes to get Kamala elected?
Yes. It hammers home the point that I'm making, that this news network is indistinguishable from the party.
Are they just the Democratic Party's mouthpiece?
Exactly.
MSNBC is the Democratic Party's mouthpiece.
Yes.
Basil calls MSNBC viewers brainwashed and states that MSNBC made their viewers dumber over the years.
Viewers get mad at the guests or the host if the host were to criticize Democrats. They've made their viewers dumber over the years. I think brainwashing and dumbing down,
it's bad.
Aggressive,
I get it.
Helps Trump.
When she's delivering these messages now, I think she keeps getting better.
Kamala Harris is telling the truth. The hate campaign against Kamala Harris has begun. They purposefully pronounce her name wrong.
But as a black woman, the product of a mixed marriage, she's an inspiration.
I don't know, Nicole, vote for her or don't vote for her, but isn't it great to just have a positive conversation right now?
Last week, we saw Vice President Kamala Harris's first mainstream media solo interview of her presidential run with MSNBC's Stephanie Ruhle. Many people were stating how much of a softball interview it was. Here's a clip from that.
I just want to ask you yes or no. At any point in your life, have you served 2 all beef patties, special sauce, lettuce, cheese, pickles, onions on a sesame seed bun, working out of McDonald's? Yes or no? That's it.
I have.
Okay.
With that, OMG decided to look into MSNBC and their cozy relationship with the vice president. Meet Basil Hamdan, a writer and producer for MSNBC's weekend show, Eamon. Hamdan's background includes working at the Huffington Post as a news director and being the executive producer for Michael Moore. Basil met our OMG American Swiper on the dating app Bumble and divulged about his job to our undercover journalist.
Remind me where you work.
Right now, I'm working at MSNBC.
What do you do? What's your title?
Writer, producer. So I a live news show on the weekends.
Okay, what is it called?
Eamon. Yeah,
I've heard of that.
Basil Hamdan, producer at MSNBC, states that MSNBC is helping the Kamala Harris campaign, stating they are, quote, amplifying her message. Basil also reveals that, quote, what her message of the day is their MSNBC's message of the day.
So do you feel like MSNBC is doing enough to help the Harris campaign?
I mean, they're doing all they can to
Which is what? What have they done to help the Harris campaign?
amplify her message. What her message of the day is their message of the day.
Does anyone really trust the healthcare system? Well, thankfully, there still are some good guys left in healthcare, like our great friends at the Wellness Company. The Wellness Company has been with OMG since day one, and now they're proud to introduce the ultimate first aid emergency kit, meticulously created to ensure your access to life-saving prescription medications, personal protective equipment, and other essentials by empowering you to take control of your health journey. Now you and your loved ones will be prepared for the next shortage or whatever they try to pull. My team and I have our kits with us in the field at all times. Don't get caught without the medications you need. The Wellness Company's first aid medical emergency kit can make all the difference. Order your medical emergency kit now and save 15% by using code OMG. That's twc.health/OMG. Go to twc.health/OMG. Again, that's twc.health/OMG. Our OMG American Swiper questioned Basil Hamden about MSNBC's close relationship to the Democratic Party. Hamden revealed that MSNBC is the Democratic Party's mouthpiece and is doing anything to get Kamala elected. Hamden says this news network is indistinguishable from the Democratic Party.
He says it's indistinguishable from the Democratic Party, and they're doing everything they can to get Kamala Harris elected as president. Now, I ask you all, ladies and gentlemen, I'll play the rest of the video, but does that sound like unbiased reporting? This is a producer. I'm going off here. This is a producer saying this. Now, he's being recorded. I'm taking he doesn't even know he's being recorded. I don't know where this at, and I don't even know the person that's doing the recording, but they called it, and I'm glad they did. And to be clear, and he even talks about Fox News. Fox does the same thing. Yes, absolutely. Of course, they're biased. They appeal to the right. They try, and yes, they will do some, and yeah, they do a lot of racial talking points on there. They do a lot of racial bullshit. I can't lie, but I like my media to be fair. I like fairness. I like impartiality. Tell it how it is. Not trying to influence something. Media should be the ones that checks the government that's supposed to. That's what free speech is about. That's what the First Amendment is about. Freedom of the press. If you're reporting just from one side, and let's be real, MSNBC, CBS, Fox, and ABC, you know, many of these companies I've named are owned by corporations, and corporations tend to have select interests. So I don't know who offhand owns Fox. I thought Rupert Murdoch. I think did he not sell that? I can't be sure, but I know ABC is owned by Disney, so they got to do what Disney says. NBC is run by Comcast Universal. You got CBS, which is that's Paramount, that's Viacom. Of course, they got an umbrella, so there's all select interest in that. But hold on, we're gonna go back to the video, so there's a little bit more.
What you were saying earlier, that the MSNBC aligns too closely with the Democratic Party line.
Yeah, so they're often saying the same exact things. The type of people who work in Democratic politics and in the campaign are a lot of the same type of people that would appear on air on MSNBC. It hammers home the point that I'm making, that this news network is indistinguishable from the party.
Are they just the Democratic Party's mouthpiece?
Exactly.
MSNBC is the Democratic Party's mouthpiece.
Yes. Yes.
So is MSNBC just like doing whatever it takes to get Kamala elected?
Yes. Yes.
Even if there are like clear contradictions that would potentially alienate some of the viewers?
Yes, but unfortunately,
that's bad journalism. Right?
It is, but unfortunately, they've made their viewers dumber over the years. Fortunately, they're not brainwashing people with racist propaganda like
now.
Fox.
They made their view. Now he says something very interesting. He admits that they could be lying. He admits essentially that yes, it's propaganda, and that their viewers are dumbered down. That's what they want. You know, television is called television programming. That's the actual name of it. It's to tell lies to your vision, as Malcolm X would say. Television media, he said, media is the most powerful entity in the world because it has the ability to make the guilty innocent and the innocent guilty. So there's propaganda that MSNBC is pushing, clearly, to get viewers influenced on a certain subject.
But particularly post-Trump, from Trump.
Now he noticed, yeah, but unlike Fox, his excuse was, well, we're dumbing them down, but at the same time, we're not Fox, we're not racist, at least. Well, I appreciate that you're not, but dumbing me down is not something I want to be either. I don't know about you all.
I don't know. The people in my comment section are smart. I consider everybody smart because I treat everybody like they got some sense. Am I right? If you got some sense, make some noise. I want you to put a black power fist in there. If you got some if you got some sense, give me a black power fist up in there. Say 100. You got some sense. You don't want to be dumbed down. We can take it like it is. We're adults. What's going on in the world? We want to know. We are concerned. Most people, especially elderly people, they're not doing research into stuff like this. They don't know the stuff that's going on. You and I do because we read. We do research.
They've really narrowed their audience's mind to the point where even when guests go on their show to criticize Democrats, people get mad at the guests.
It begs the question, why
Right.
isn't
That's always
MSNBC's
been
motto
a setup. Let me
the
stop.
network indistinguishable from the Democratic Party? For Basil Hamden, MSNBC is nothing more than a network that is solely based on helping the Democratic candidate.
That's the point of it. That's exactly what it is. Their job is, I've noticed, especially, and it's always set up. If you ever watch NBC, if you ever watch CNN, when they have one conservative on there, like back in the day, they don't do it. I think they still do it. They'd have one Republican and the rest of the panel are Democrats. And when a Republican says something against the Democratic incumbent, y'all notice they go after him, like what happened with Michael Eric Dyson and that Republican Congresswoman Mace. And Dyson, of course, got in the DMs. He was trying to get that luscious vanilla of what we call the white flight yogurt that I would put my black morsel chips on, if you follow my meaning. That is what the ineptitude of what Michael Eric Dyson was going for. Oh, excuse me.
Hamden, MSNBC is nothing more than a network that is solely based on helping the Democratic candidate, Kamala Harris. Just this week, MSNBC panelist Eddie Glaude stated Kamala Harris has to win. And if she doesn't, our young children in America will have the threat of being bombed at school because of Donald Trump.
We got to come out and try to figure out how to turn out in the large historic numbers, because we got to
I
keep this troglodyte out of office.
Cornel West knockoff. I was on Dana's show this past week, and she showed this clip. Yeah. I don't even know who this guy is. He's a professor.
Because if he comes in, our babies are going to be in danger. Because remember, those young children are going to grow up with the memory of having to not go to school for the threat of bombs. When she needs to bust him in his mouth. I'm saying it like that because he's dangerous. He's dangerous to particular people.
These are very peculiar people that are at MSNBC. Basil Hamden, producer at MSNBC, dives even further into how MSNBC hosts and guests are so in sync, they will finish each other's sentences.
Do you feel like MSNBC doesn't necessarily tell the truth?
I think they do from their perspective. Yeah, they do.
From their perspective, they do. So that means what they want to tell you, they're going to say, yes, that's true. Yes, it's the truth from what we believe, what we say, what we dictate. That's what they're saying.
But from like an objective standpoint,
it's very partisan Democrat. Their problem, and I think they would have a bigger audience. It would be if they were less tied to the Democratic Party itself. They should be progressive. They should tell the truth from a progressive perspective, but they shouldn't be tied to a political party.
how are they currently tied to the Democratic Party?
They just are way too cozy with Democratic politicians.
How? I can tell.
If you watch an interview with a Democratic politician, they just finish each other's sentences. The anchor and the politician are just in total agreement about everything.
While investigating subjects, our OMG journalists always find that the subjects we investigate like to criticize or demean the very people they work for or entertain. Basil Hamden is no exception. Basil calls MSNBC viewers brainwashed and states that MSNBC made their viewers dumber over the years. Doesn't sound like they believe in their product.
They've made their viewers dumber over the years. Viewers get mad at the guests or the hosts if the hosts were to criticize Democrats.
Because they're so brainwashed.
Yes.
Into thinking that the Democratic Party can do no wrong.
Not that they can't do any wrong. It's maybe they can do wrong. I just don't want to hear about it. Don't say it out loud, because if you say it out loud, it helps Trump. I think brainwashing and dumbing down,
it's bad.
Aggressive,
I get it.
Helps Trump.
Well, here we go. The market has plunged again. The writing is on the wall.
So I'm going to stop that there. So he says brainwashing and dumbing down progressives helps Trump. because they want to. That's what they care about. We want to help Trump. No matter if we're going to lie, we're going to do this. Because if it doesn't help Trump, we're going to go ahead and push this narrative. This is not what media is supposed to be about. This is actually the opposite of what it's doing, because now it is alienating your support group. Black people have been loyal to the Democratic Party for over 90-something years. We've been doing the same thing, voting down ballot, vote blue no matter who. That's the narrative. That's what they force on a Black community. You don't vote, you going to help the Republicans. That's the fear-mongering that this man is talking about. But this does not help. This does not help the Democratic Party. It doesn't help Kamala Harris, because most Black Americans don't care for Kamala Harris. A lot of people are seeing what's being pushed there, and they're not happy. They don't like the fact that this is being forced down our throat, that you had they were originally, especially, I'm not going to say Black, but the Democrats supported Joe Biden, especially the baby boomers that are still around, and they voted for him in the primary, and yet to find out now that Kamala Harris is actually going to be the presidential nominee, when it was decided, when originally Joe Biden stated he was not dropping out of the race. So now you have that happening. And then on top of that, we're hearing you, who is the executive of a major network, admitting that you're brainwashing your viewers. And you think this is going to help Donald Trump by lying and saying you're brainwashing them? Absolutely not. Not with the people that have common sense. Yeah, older people who don't do research, who are not going to see this video, who are not going to see what O'Keefe Media, the courtesy of them, thank you to them for that, who are going to see that. Of course they would say that. These are clowns we're dealing with, ladies and gentlemen. This is all a circus show. And stay ready. You have to be ready. I can't really wait until this election is over with, I must say, because I've never seen any presidential election. I'm 38 years old. And in my 38 years, I've only been voting since I was 18. So 20 years that I've been allowed to, that I've been legally able to vote. I've never seen it this crazy where you have families being broken up. We got women who are breaking up with their boyfriends. I've seen videos of it who say if they don't vote for Kamala Harris, they're going to break up with them. You have family members fighting over each other, people cursing at each other. Just everything is crazy over Trump, over Harris, we're not going to even meet. We don't know. We don't even know. We haven't even met these people. They don't care about us. Neither of them. Neither party cares. But we say vote for the lesser of two evils. That's what we have thought. And honestly, the Democrats are starting to take that role on seriously, because they treat us like, I don't even want to say second-class citizens. They take us for granted. They take the American people for granted. They take Black folks for granted. And yet they know. That's why Biden wasn't worried. He talked about how he had the Black vote. You don't vote for me, you're not Black. And tried to pass it off as a joke. It wasn't a joke. Yes, there's division. You can't talk. My folks even if they saw this video, they probably would still say they would vote for that video I showed. They would still say they vote for Harris. You can show this to some people and they still won't wake up. Jesus Christ couldn't make everybody believe he was the Son of God when he healed the high servant's ear. Now, and they still yelled, crucify him. They chose Barabbas over Christ, and Barabbas was a murderer. Now, I'm not comparing, and I don't want any fools to think I'm trying to compare Donald Trump to Jesus Christ and why we're not choosing all the Republican parties that. No, that's not what I'm saying. That is not what I'm saying, but I'm doing an analogy. I'm trying to show you all and explain to you all just how crazy people are with these elections, how we don't even care about facts and politics. It's about what makes us happy. They choose joy over intellect. They actually talked about that. Well, Kamala Harris, but now I'm starting to see all across the country, especially they have photos of her rallies. A lot of people are leaving the rallies, not showing up. She's not getting the reactions that she was had early on when they had this pick. Most people are not falling for that anymore. And I really think November, I don't think it would be a question. I think Trump is going to win big because people are frustrated by this migrant crisis. They're frustrated with the economy, rising gas prices, and they're also tired of this incompetency and this laughing stock that we have in office. Our whole thing, and I'll say this, even have the fact that Trump is running again and having him just shows you how bad both parties have been in trying to get a nominee for president and not even worried about the little people. Because, you know, with the Democrats, especially in the 60s and 70s, and just talking from my grandfather, I remember he and I talked politics, why he votes Democrat. He felt they represented the little guy. And I can tell you how, and I'm sure if he were alive, he would say himself how times have changed. Because they're pushing all the LGBTQ, they're pushing all the illegal migrant stuff. I know he wouldn't be happy about that. But guys, we're going to go ahead and wrap this up. Thank you, Kevin. I'm going to wrap this thing up. We've been on for 50 minutes. That's the only topic I want to talk about. Rest in peace also, before I get out of here, to Dikembe Mutombo, the NBA legend, passed away. Yeah, I was sad to hear that. Dikembe Mutombo. No. No. Yeah, I remember when he had the the Geico commercials. No. Ladies, y'all should do that when they come up to you in the club, breath all be stinking, shoes messed up. No. Man, we should do it too. When that child support when child support comes, when she start talking about child support, we should be doing that. No. You break up with your old lady, she wants to talk about child support. Block it. Yeah, slap that paper out of her hand. No. Yeah. No. Police try to execute a search warrant. Slap it out. No. Yeah. Mount Mutombo. Yeah. I remember him with the 76ers, yeah. And Rockets, but it looks like he had cancer, which is what why he passed on. Yeah, he's from the Congolese. Yeah. Look at him sitting down, he's big. 7'2". Yeah, he could block. He ranks second among NBA career leaders in block shots. Hakeem Olajuwon, Hakeem the Dream has the most. Yeah, Hakeem was one of my favorites. He was the real deal. Even though I caught him on the tail end of his career. Yeah, dude from Houston. Yeah, I liked him. He was a clutch star. All right, y'all. But we're going to get up out of here. All right, make sure you also smash up the likes. Smash up the likes, ladies and gentlemen. Hit that notification bell. Hit that like, share, and subscribe button. If you love me for my time, pay me for my time. Look at the ticker in the bottom. And I'm also going to be uploading a video for you all on Patreon. Make sure you subscribe to the Patreon channel. I'm going to put one up here. That is the link for the Patreon. Make sure y'all subscribe to that. I got a comedy reel I'm about to upload on private through Patreon. So make sure you join me there. And I'm gonna see y'all in the next one. But yeah, y'all be safe and be blessed. Right. And also make sure you're on. If you're not on Rumble, you need to be on Rumble, because Rumble is where it's at, ladies and gentlemen. Go to Random Topics on Rumble right now and subscribe. And I will see y'all in the next one. Be one, be safe, and be blessed. I'll holla. Peace.